I'm going to be reading you an audiobook. Malory's House will return. Okay, let's go. I'm just reading you chapter 1. Our next video will be chapter 2. Mother, there's Susan, cried Felicity Rivers as she and her mother made on the way along the station platform. Susan! Hi, Susan. Felicity, don't run, called Mrs. Rivers. It's far too crowded and you bumped into someone. But it was too late. Felicity was determined to reach her friend Susan, and she ran along the platform, dodging the groups of people that stood there. Many of them were girls in Miley's uniform, waiting for the train that would take them back to school for winter term. But Miss Rivers was right. It wasn't long before Felicity Rivers did bump into someone. Felicity Rivers, said the girl. Felicity Rivers, said the girl, looking rather cross. Do you watch where you're going? What do you mean by running like a mad thing? Sorry, Fenella, said Felicity meekly, turning red. Of all people she could have bumped into. What do you mean? Sorry, Fenella. Of all people she could have bumped into. Why did she have to pick Fenella, not Thornton, the new health girl? Vanilla Girl glared at her for a moment, then suddenly her face broke into a wild smile, making her look quite different. Go on, push off, she said with a chuckle. And this time walk. Remember you're a fourth from now. Felicity not a still third from her anymore. Golly, so I am, thought Felicity, walking over to join Susan and her mother. Fancy me being a fourth former. She and Susan greeted one another loyally, for they had to tell one another everything that happened in the holidays. Then Miss River came up and chatted to his mother and laughed. It was time for the two girls to board the train. Each of them hugged their mother, and Mrs. River said, "Do write, won't you, darling?" I know that Darrell would love to hear from you too. I'll see you at halftime, dear, said Susan's mother. Have a marvelous time. Felicity and Susan waved off their mothers, then greeted each other as they walked down to find their carriage. The beginning of a new term. And now we have fourth formers. Yes, we are. So why are you going to go to third form? Carriage left Leslie, pulling her friend back. You don't want to sit with those babies? Of course not. Of course not, said Susan loftily. Babies. Just then the guard outside blew his whistle with a lurch. The train moved forward slowly on its way to Malta. Say, isn't it exciting to get your train all on our own? Not better than being in a stuffy old car, agreed Susan. The girl usually came to school by car, but Felicity's father had needed to drive to an urgent appointment, so she was getting the train for the first time, and she and Susan were quite inseparable. Susan's parents had agreed that she would catch the train with Felicity. A sudden shout of laughter came from one of the carriages. Father and Lord, I know that laugh anywhere, so that's June. Quickly, Felicity and Susan made their way to the carriage. Now that come from and slid open the door, and they're all chuckling their heads off. Sat there three of their fellow fourth formers, June, Freddie, and another, and there was another girl sitting in the corner too. So, chuckling, and there was another girl sitting in the corner too. And one that girls hadn't seen before. She wasn't laughing. In her face, her expression was very sullen indeed. Heaven, she doesn't look quite friendly, thought Felicity. I do hope she isn't in our North Tower with us. The girl, who was rather plain with straight, nosy brown hair, which fell to her shoulders, looked up at Felicity and as Susan did, took their seats. Then she looked away almost immediately, without so much as smiling as newcomers. The two girls looked at one another, and the others grimaced. There was no time to worry about the new girl now. For their friends, for their friends were Grimacing. And the girls looked at one another grimaced. There was no time to rub niggets, for the girls were welcoming them noisily. Hello day, you two. Had good holes. Isn't it grand to get going back to school? To good old Malory Towers? And this time we shall be in the fourth form. My goodness, we're going up in the world. I don't know that. I don't want to be a fourth former, said Nora, frowning a little. We shall have to You'll have to settle down a little and be more responsible. Now that we're in upper school, won't be nearly as formed. The sullen girl looked. We have been huddled miserably in a corner, looking out of the window, throwing their head and shooting at us scornful look. Fortunately, Nora didn't see, but Felicity did, and felt quite shocked. Whatever had Nora done to deserve that? I have no intention of settling down, said June. I don't want to see why I can't have a little fun, just because they were in the fourth form. Quite right, said our friend. Freddie, we can still play an odd trick. We have the occasional joke, put in June. And perhaps we may even arrange a midnight feast, said Freddie, her blue eyes lighting up. The eyes of Felicity, Susan, and Nora lit up too. A midnight feast will be simply too marvelous for words. They hadn't had one for absolutely ages. One of the other had. What Nora had said was quite true. The girls were expected to settle down a little once, a little once, a little one. This brother, little once they were in the fourth form. But then Felicity remembered that when her sister Darrell had been in the upper fourth, they had held a feast. It was good enough for Darrell. It was good enough for Felicity. Perhaps we could have a feast, she said, grinning. It's not as if we'll be doing any harm. As long as we keep it to ourselves, we won't accuse of setting a bad excuse example to the lower forms. My sentiments exactly, cried June, clapping her on the back. My word, we're in for some fun this term. June's wicked dark eyes were shining. She and Freddie were the jokers of the form, and for never far away when they were around. There's a little very mischief. There's a little very mischief look about you this term. Okay, so the words that we didn't understand, we should quote them, shouldn't we? So, scornful, huddled. Remember back when I said, and one more word. Look at it. Oh, it's upside down. Okay, I'm sure you've seen the two words I underlined. Let's continue. June, my word, there's a mysterious cloud about you this term. June, said Susan, watching the girl. June always looks mischievous, laughed Nora. June always looks mysterious, laughed Nora. Yes, but she looks even more mysterious than usual, said Susan. And as do you, Freddie. Secretly planning a lot of trick, I expect. Us, said June, making her eyes very red and innocent. Of course not. As if you could, said Freddie, as looking at very innocent. But the other knew that Freddie had spent the last few days of her holiday and enjoyed. Really? Seriously? Man, are you crazy? You're still pointing the camera at me? Please, turn around. Just turn around. Sorry. So sorry for the mix-up. As if he could, said Freddie, looking very innocent. But the others knew that Freddie had spent the last few days of the holiday at June, and June's brother, who were also great jokers, had been there too. No doubt the two girls had come back with all kinds of of tricks up their sleeves. The new girl who had sat silent with the chatter went on, gave a sniff, and Felicity and Trent looked at the others inquiringly. "Oh, yes," said June, as though she had only just. No, the girl was there. I haven't introduced you to our new member of the phone. This is Olive with the spoon. Okay, my last video will be the continuation of the chapter 1. Thank you, and goodbye.